Welcome back to In Focus. Now, politics are changing in South Africa with dissidents from the ruling African National Congress Party deciding to form a new political party in advance of next year's presidential election. Members of the splinter group met Saturday in Johannesburg, where they issued a declaration of principles for the as yet unnamed party. Mbazima Shilowa, the former premier of Gauteng province, called for the direct election of South Africa's president, premiers and mayors.
Well, let's now turn back to politics here in the United States, but with a view from Africa. With us is Alex Chamwada, the associate editor of Citizen TV in Kenya, one of our newest affiliate stations in Africa. Alex, welcome.
Thank you, Vincent.
So first, what is your feel of things in the United States as you cover the U.S. elections for Kenya?
Yes, I've been here for about 2 weeks now. I've been on the campaign trail. I've covered Barack Obama. I've covered McCain. I've been to the polling stations, and I can feel enthusiasm. And it's an election that it's global, I would say, because when I file reports back home in Kenya, people are so keen to know what is the latest, what is coming next, and there's so much excitement and anticipation about it. I was here in 2000. I covered the elections in 2000 for Citizen Television, but I've never seen such a bigger election, so to speak, comparing 2000 and this year.
We'll talk more about how it is back home in a moment.
Thank you.
Before we go any further in our discussion, let's look at the two U.S. presidential candidates, where they come from and what they stand for. First, VOA's Meredith Bull profiles John McCain.
John McCain was born in the Panama Canal Zone in 1936. The son and grandson of U.S. Navy admirals, his military career took him to the Naval Academy and then into combat as a pilot during the Vietnam War. After his plane was shot down over North Vietnam in 1967, McCain spent 5.5 years as a prisoner of war. When he was released, he came home a national hero. McCain has said his war experience makes him uniquely qualified to be president.
I can hit the ground running. I don't need any on-the-job training. I've seen the face of evil. I know the face of war.
In 2000, McCain lost his bid for the Republican Party's presidential nomination to then Texas Governor George W. Bush. But during his try for the White House this time, McCain won critical primaries and clinched the Republican nomination. McCain hoped to frame his campaign against rival Barack Obama by highlighting his experience in foreign policy and defense. But the recent financial crisis has made people fearful of their future, and this has changed the focus to the economy.
Clearly the biggest turning points were, number one, the economic meltdown, which not only shifted the ground from Iraq and national security, where McCain is very strong, to the economy and health care, where McCain is not as strong.
McCain hoped his selection of Alaska Governor Sarah Palin as his running mate would provide a boost for his campaign. But Palin stumbled during several high-profile television interviews.
And since then, the approval ratings have shown that she's been more and more a liability.
McCain has tried to distance himself from President Bush. But at nearly every campaign stop, Obama has linked McCain to the economic policies of the Bush administration.
No party that's held the White House has ever been returned to office under those kinds of circumstances.
McCain has also had to deal with critics who say that at age 72, he is too old to be president. In the closing days of the campaign, McCain trailed Obama in fundraising and television advertising. Nevertheless, he was upbeat.
Don't give up hope. Be strong. Have courage and fight. Fight for a new direction for our country. Fight for what's right for America.
Meredith Buell, VOA News, Washington.
Barack Obama was born in Hawaii 47 years ago, the son of a Kenyan father and an American mother from Kansas. He spent part of his childhood in Indonesia and later attended Columbia University and Harvard Law School. Obama's political career was shaped in part by years as a community organizer in poor neighborhoods of Chicago. In 2004, he was elected to the U.S. Senate. That same year, he delivered the keynote address at the Democratic National Convention. Obama supporters praise him for speaking to the hopes and ideals of Americans. One inspirational moment came after he won the Democratic Party caucus in Iowa in January.
They said this day would never come. They said our sights were set too high. They said this country was too divided, too disillusioned to ever come together around a common purpose. But on this January night, at this defining moment in history, you have done what the cynics said we couldn't do.
Dennis Johnson is a professor at George Washington University. He says Obama's campaign organization has been impressive.
They were very good in terms of what we call the ground game, getting people out to vote, getting them registered, getting their email and electronic government stuff.
Some pundits say Obama matured over the campaign, gaining self-assurance and a presidential style.
Now is the time to build new bridges across the globe as strong as the one that binds us across the Atlantic.
His trip to Europe, Iraq, and Afghanistan was aimed at boosting his credibility on foreign and military affairs. But some of his comments on tax reform left him open to Republican claims that he wants to redistribute wealth in the country.
You see, Senator Obama believes in redistributing wealth, not in policies that grow our economy and create jobs.
In the end, Obama's campaign will be remembered as historic, a black American running for president. Robert Raffel, VOA News.
Well, Alex, welcome back to In Focus now. Going back to Kenya, first I noticed that the big dailies, the Standard reported that the big story was party mood as Obama is on course for victory. And then the East African says, or rather the Standard, U.S. poll, why Obama is the world's choice. Give me a sense of how the media has been reporting the U.S. presidential election process.
Vincent, first of all, the media in Kenya have been following this election since the primaries. And why the interest, it's because of the Kenyans are saying Obama is their son, given that his father is Kenyan, his father is Kenyan. And they've really, I would say, been keen on getting lessons for Kenyans. It's not just about covering U.S. elections. You find the Kenyan media drawing lessons for Kenyans, given what Kenya went through the last general election. Yeah.
But then, to what extent has the Kenyan media been dissecting the issues that both candidates really stand for in this campaign?
Yeah, much as there's been bias in favor of Obama because of the Kenyan link, but I would say Kenyan media have been trying to bring issues from both sides, because it's more balanced when you are covering both sides, and you learn more lessons when you are hearing what McCain is saying and what Obama is saying. And the economy and national security, the security of the world have been some of the key issues that have been coming out. So it's been really issue-oriented as far as the coverage in the Kenyan media is concerned.
When you talk to people, when you listen to what people say in the call-in radio programs, for instance, what do they expect Obama is going to do for them as Kenyans?
Well, of course, generally there are those who expect favor. Kenya will get maybe funding, but by and large, Obama will be the president of the United States. The biggest expectation is the economy. They say when America sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. They expect that the economy will be much more stable. They want the president who wins this election to help the world become stable economically. Second, to refocus and have new ways of solving international conflicts like the Middle East.
Has the media made some effort to refer to how much President Bush, who is the outgoing, has done for Africa, particularly in the social and development programs?
No, that has not been coming out. The focus has been Obama, McCain, Obama, McCain. The mention of Bush has been about he's been doing badly, and that's why Americans want a change. So it's not, there's been little from the Bush side.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alex. We hope to hear again more from you. And once again, we want to thank Alex Chamwada for joining us. For more information on these stories, we want you to go to voanews.com/TV2Africa. It's time for another break.